7 seconds, here we are again.
Where are we at?
Back on the podcast.
These Boys podcast.
Had to restart. Joe Skelly was giving away data to the governments and whatnot, trying to find us on our hill here.
We were talking about mole people. Do they exist? If you're a listener, you've been listening to the show for a while, we want you to write into the show and tell us what your opinion is. Do mole people exist? And if they do they exist in just major cities and the undergrounds, or do they exist other places?
Listen, we are members of society, loosely. There's a whole world out there that doesn't flow with the constraints of anything that people say. We all know that. There's entire cultures underground. There's cities under Vegas. There's cities under LA. There's probably cities under New York. I don't know how that works over there.
Well, allegedly, New York flushed them all out, but I find that hard to believe.
Sure.
It's funny that you mentioned this because there's a culture in Russia. They're called Dihering, Dihgering. And it's a subculture of people that live underground and explore underground and stay underground.
And what do? They just be chilling with the milky skin or what? No vitamin D?
I guess, but they've been doing this since communist Russia to escape persecution and being found by them. So
and they just stayed down there.
Yes. And that there's a whole group of young kids that keeps joining.
Yeah, they want to be lost boys and hide away from the government and the man.
Right.
Interesting. Has this started? Wait, we can't go political.
But it's been ongoing since. So why would it change, right?
The underground cities are a real thing.
I mean, let's talk about, we know about Paris, all the people that explore the catacombs, and then there's the people that disappear in the catacombs. Like there was that one guy that was exploring and he had like a GoPro. This was years ago.
Right.
Something scared him and he took off running through the catacombs underneath Paris and he dropped his camera and disappeared. His camera eventually died.
Right.
They never found him, but they found his camera like 14 years later.
That's perfection.
Yes. So they're like, what was it that scared this guy so bad that he took off running in the dark?
Never came back to get his camera.
Well, he got lost.
And then died.
Yeah.
D-E-D-D, dead.
And they never recovered his body.
Well, needle in a haystack, really.
Is that what it is?
For getting technical.
All right. So the question is, do mole people exist then?
Oh, 1,000%. Is that even the question?
Yeah, that was the question.
The question is, has any of you guys ever seen them?
Oh,
or better,
do you know any?
Lived with them?
I'd be interested if somebody has. Write us. Let us know.
Right.
I want to know.
I'd be totally interested.
What's going on with these societies? How are they run? Is there a political system? Is there a power structure? Do they have a king? I mean, what is it?
Does there have to be a power structure?
Oh, well,
Probably.
Somebody's got to run the society, right?
This is some Walking Dead stuff.
Yeah, it is.
They definitely have some sort of government law infrastructure under the Vegas cities.
Oh,
I've seen lots of interviews of them talking about that.
Oh, no shit.
They'll have them like written out and stuff on the walls and stuff so you can see them that way just in case.
You can't say you didn't know what the rule was?
Uh-huh. That
so
way
when they punish you?
Decide to keep you down there and hold you in there and all this other stuff.
Ooh.
Oh, my.
Oh, my, for sure.
Oh, my. This is free living, though.
How free is it?
Spiritually, 110% free. Because you just kind of doing whatever you want. Financially, I'm
like
not
a bunch of anarchists?
Sure. Right. Anarchy in the Undercity.
Ooh. That could be a movie.
I think we should start going and find these people.
Have fun.
We need to do some underground interviews.
All right.
They'll let me in.
They would.
They probably wouldn't let you in.
They would not.
You're too tall.
Is that what it is? There's a height requirement?
Yeah. There's definitely. You're too tall. They can't trust you.
Oh.
You look like you rock a suit too well.
I've never been accused of that.
Got that cop haircut. They know what's happening. Like, what's this guy from? Vice? Get out of here. And then some dude runs up. Let me get a pack of 10. Like, wait a minute. What's happening in this city?
I would not be allowed in.
I saw a video of a girl in yesterday of a girl in Burma, not Alabama.
Okay, Burma.
The other.
Mm-hmm.
And she had gotten her vacation tattoo, and it was supposed to say something like angel power, and
and she was crying about it, and I couldn't figure out what she was mad about.
Because the words were switched. It was supposed to say angel power, and it said Power Angel. And she's like, I'm not supposed to say that. I don't get tattoos very often. I don't know why it's messed up. And I'm like, bro, it's on your arm. You can see it while he's doing it, though.
You should have checked the final proof before you had him slap it on you.
But you can just read it on your arm. It was on her forearm.
Oh.
How did you sit through that? It's not like it was on your friggin' bum.
You can actually see him doing the work.
Yeah, how did she sit through that?
That's a good question.
No, I told you I had a tattoo artist almost tattooed me wrong with some grammar, right?
No.
Yeah, he was a heroin addict, though. So it was understandable. My man's not much for grammar.
Yeah.
You know?
Is that,
Luckily, I had somebody there to spell check.
You know what? I find it hard. You can't blame that on the heron.
Really?
Yeah.
The spelling, no? Just public education?
I mean, have you ever come across a grammar Nazi and a spelling Nazi? They take all sizes, shapes, and forms.
That's true. So he's just a bad speller. The heron was just a side effect.
Yeah, the heron was a side effect. He was just a dummy.
That makes sense. I just figured it was all that sweating he was doing. Hey, it happened.
And you still let him cut you?
Man, I thought he just was working out earlier that day. It's like, what you been doing all day? He's like, got my steps in.
And you were like, why are you sweating so profusely?
Yeah, I was like, perfect. I had an alcoholic tattoo me once, and she shook while she did it.
Oh,
that one was good.
Oh, you're like,
again,
hey,
I thought she was nervous.
You're like,
I was letting her tattoo me in special places, and she was like, you know, she had it in her hand, and she was shaking, and I was like, don't be scared, it's fine.
Let me give you a little bottle of Stroh's here to calm you down a little bit.
Yeah. Come to find out, she was just having a little bit of the withdrawal.
Oh, she having the DTs, huh?
But yeah, the grammar thing.
You chose some adventurous tattooists. Right. That's pretty interesting.
It happens. It happens. Tattoo.
You just showed up at the shop and you're like, this is what I want.
Tattoo.
You didn't even know who they were.
Every time I show up, they're different people. Tattoo artists are horrible. They're like frat houses. You can't keep tabs on any of them. The young ones, anyways.
Listen.
The young ones.
This is all I'm going to say.
Your man doesn't count. He's been over there forever.
Yeah.
That dude was already stationed up when I moved to Ohio. And he was famous.
I never cheat on my tattooist.
Yeah.
Dude, if I showed up with if I showed up with somebody else's ink and I was asking him to do a new piece, immediately he would say, "Oh, where did you get this?"
Yeah, well, listen, all I'm going to say is,
and if it was local, boy, it'd be payback.
Listen, all these dudes talking about how they're faithful to their tattoo artist, but their tattoo artist banging and gunning 10 other people the same day.
Yep, that's fine.
You know it's true.
Yeah, of course it's true, but I don't go anywhere else. There's a reason.
Is it because he's a mole person?
No,
he knows the rules of the underground.
Yes,
that's why they let him exist.
100% why.
They let him exist for so long.
Yeah. They haven't taken him back because he's a wage earner for the mole people.
Oh my!
By the way, I've got my next tattoo already picked out.
Rat burgers?
Yes.
What is it?
Can't tell you.
Oh,
just gonna get it done. It's gonna be in a place that's not very comfortable.
Pony Boy's face on you.
It's gonna be in a place that's not very comfortable.
Oh, nice! Like the back of a VW Bug.
Like the back of a VW Bug.
Exactly. We're coming back.
I can't believe you just pulled that out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That is a good one.
Yeah, it is.
So I just saw a thing the other day. Apparently, the police in Turkey did a raid on a smuggler.
Oh, I think I saw this headline. What did they have in his place?
And it was in his car. And the guy had like all these ancient religious artifacts that he was selling on the black market.
No, I didn't see this one.
And one of them turned out to be a book, like an ancient book.
Okay. Was it made of skin? I hope not.
Super old, like 2,000-year-old book.
All right.
And they start going through it. And it turns out it's a lost book of the Bible that was not included in the original Bibles.
And
before the Council of Nicaea, which determined the King James book, right? There were several other councils before that, right?
Right.
And allegedly this book predates those. And they just didn't include it. And it's the book of St. Barnabas, right? And so They're doing the research on this and the information comes out and the Vatican freaks out and they're like, we want to see the book too. Right?
Right.
And what they're saying is that this book of St. Barnabas, which is 2,000 years old, said that Jesus himself was not crucified. And that it was actually his subordinate.
His homie.
His apostle.
Yep.
Who was? Who sold him out for the silver? Judas. And it was Judas that was crucified and not Jesus.
That SOB. That explains how Jesus got to the Buddhas.
Yes, and it also claims in the book that the Apostle Paul was a fraud.
He's the 14th.
And so you can understand why the Vatican's a little bit concerned about the authenticity of the book. But they carbon dated it and everything, and it's a real book from 2,000 years ago. So now they have to figure out, well, is this a real biblical book, or is this a fake that was made 2,000 years ago?
We need to figure out. We need to find somebody who's...
But the interesting thing is, in the Bible, there's 2 Barnabases. So which one was it, right? Interesting. Things are changing all the time, right? And it said...
in the Bible?
It also said in this book that Jesus himself said he was not the Son of God, and that it was actually Muhammad.
Oh.
Yes, that's the bigger one that the Vatican's super concerned about.
So they're not happy, huh?
Yeah, apparently.
Well, what happens when your business turns out to be false?
Right.
I mean, you are like the biggest business in the game.
Well, all they got to do is say the book's a fraud, right? Who's going to argue with it? How do you prove it? A 2,000-year-old book is either a fraud or the truth.
I guess when you're the biggest thumb in the game, who else is going to thumb you out?
That's true. The question is, how did this guy have this book in his trunk? Where did it come from?
And he was just driving around with it, huh?
Yeah, he was just driving around with it.
I hope my man saves some money.
My man is going to need a lot of money for court.
Right.
Because if anybody has their say in it, he's going to go up the river for a really long time. And that his words will never come to the light.
I don't trust anything about any of that stuff.
All right, well, there you go.
I mean, how can you? We can't prove it. We can't prove that they're right or we're wrong or they're wrong or they're right.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting.
How would we know, right? They should test that book, though. What's going to happen if they debunk the idea that Jesus was on the cross, though?
Oh, yeah, right.
That's like some paradigm shift shit for certain people.
But on another note, I've seen that there were other books that said that Judas didn't hang himself, and that Judas was actually stoned to death by the other apostles.
How much of a religion in the religious book,
which doesn't seem too far fetched, right?
Right. How much do you
betrayed our
call
brother,
it,
and then you catch the dude?
How much do you call in the religious stories for it to be religion versus the stories? I don't know if that makes any sense. You know, like, I'm basically asking, does it matter how he died or only does the lesson matter? You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Right.
Because, again, it's like that Helen Keller meme that I sent you. That was that joke of that dude's bumper sticker thing, or maybe it's on our Instagram or our Patreon. It's some dude's car covered in bumper stickers that says Helen Keller's a fraud. And I was like, bro, what a weird thing to argue, first of all.
It's a historical fact.
Who cares?
Right.
Yeah. Second of all, like,
that's somebody looking for a fight. That's all that is.
Right.
That's just somebody looking for a fight.
He had like 10 of them on his bumper thing, right? And it's like, but are there people there's people out there right now. We posted it in our Discord, in our podcast Discord, and one of our listeners wrote and said, oh, this is a very interesting theory, a conspiracy theory, and so is, and then went on to say something else. So I was like, so you're telling me there's more than one person bloating the idea that this Helen Keller thing is fake?
Why?
Well,
what would be the point?
See, we say that right now, but look at what they did with, and we're not supposed to get political, but some of our favorite stories that have been talked on in the last few years that came out with movies turned out to be false already. And we have learned and talked about with our listeners about how there are certain people that work in certain buildings that look like Pentagons that have slush funds made for Hollywood. And if you were to look up that confirmed list of movies, well, let's just say it's got all of our favorite action movies on it.
Right.
And you're like...
Because they're all propaganda movies.
Right. So, again, back to it, you know, the separation of church and state.
It's not very separated.
And the rework of... so Jesus was just trying to party. Nobody gunned him down.
Well,
But is my man still the prophet?
Listen, here's all I'm going to say.
Or the seeker of truth?
Here's what I'm going to say. It is my humble opinion that he wanted to get caught.
Pero por qué?
And the reason he wanted to get caught was he needed to get caught in order for the prophecies to become true. Okay?
So you're
Think
saying
about this.
in
You're the
Jesus's
most
world,
wanted man in all of Ohio.
right?
Okay? Like, all of the authorities are looking for you.
I instantly go to PA.
You don't leave.
Oh.
But you know you're the most wanted and hunted person in the entire state.
Okay.
Would you go to a big public venue?
Meaning?
Like...
Is it crucifixion?
No, I'm saying like downtown with a big public square.
Okay, and stand in the crowd?
No, there was no crowd.
Oh.
At midnight.
Oh.
With your 12 best friends and hang out.
Nah.
Right.
Nah.
That's how he got caught, right?
Right.
He got caught because Judas said, it's this time, old boy's going to be hanging out in the gardens.
Oh, yeah, no, this is bad news bears.
I'm just saying, you're the most wanted man. Are you going to go hang out in a big public place where they can find you real easy?
I'm not.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's not.
It doesn't make much sense.
No. And again, we're back to our favorite stories, too. Well, we ran into these travelers and told them to sit here and wait for us to disappear. Oh. Okay. And here comes Bigfoot with a picnic basket, closely followed by Yogi and Boo Boo.
Dude, none of our show makes any sense.
And you all will love it.
It doesn't make
for
any sense.
Exactly what it is.
I'm just putting it out there.
Listen,
I
they
think
love
it's interesting. And look, you know, they're still finding information from ancient Samaria, right? They're still digging up tablets that have the story of, oh my God, what's the guy's name? Now I can't even think of his name. Gilgamesh, the story of Gilgamesh, right?
Tobias.
Tobias. No, the story of Gilgamesh is one of the oldest written stories in history.
Okay.
Right? And it's about their king, right? Who was super powerful and used to be cruel. And then one day the gods decide to punish him, so they create his archenemy. And he fights his archenemy.
Oh.
And then the two of them become best friends.
Which is who?
It was a bull-like guy. I can't think of his name.
Because he tells him that he's been tricked by the system the whole time.
Yeah, that's right.
And frees him from his shackles of...
Oppression?
Oppression, thank you.
Yeah,
I was going to say repression, but that's not weird or anything. We got to drink less.
Yeah, way less.
Way less. We're working on it, ladies and gentlemen. Some of the money you send us goes to rehab. Not for us.
Not for us.
But for our other listeners who have it worse.
Way worse.
Shout out to Kenobi and his rehab skate park ass. Oh, my. Anyways, well, that was 20 minutes of religion that we didn't understand. Well, I didn't understand.
Well, anyway.
Listen.
Just something weird that just happened recently.
If we wrote a Bible right now, I'm being dead serious. If we wrote a Bible right now, our own, how many years would it take for it to catch on as legit?
Well, it'd take a really long time.
Well, the Bible's how old?
Thousands of years old.
Thousands of years old.
Yep.
And we still can't land on the moon. We're crucifying people. We're learning lessons. We're turning fish
we
to
already talked. Think about it.
things.
We already talked about from the first flight of man to landing on the moon was 70 years.
Come on, do you believe that?
Yes.
You don't really believe that.
From the yes.
You believe that.
From the first airplane flight to man landing on the moon was only 70 years.
Oh, I thought you meant from the first flight to like us going back. Never mind. So
in 70 years, our technology went from the Wright brothers with some bicycle wheels on a wing.
That I can see.
Right? To landing on the moon was 70 years.
That I can see. But here's the real question.
We got from nothing to the moon in less than a decade.
I'm going to ask you a real question, then we're going to get out of here. So we can go from flying to the moon in 70. But can you, for the love of
Think
Pete,
about the leap of technology since then.
for the love of Pete
So
and
the question is, why can't we get back?
all things holy, can you convince Tommy Skelly that Nick Cage is the greatest actor of all time?
Because he's
you have
stubborn.
70
He's
years.
stubborn.
You've already had like 30 to tell him this.
He's a stubborn son of a bitch, and I think he just does it out of spite.
So and then he doesn't come back.
Right.
He's like, I'll be back later.
He doesn't
to
come back
tell
because he
you.
doesn't want to admit the truth.
You know, he probably watched that movie and was like, this really is the greatest movie of all time. And now he can't decide between Pig and the, what was the other one? The
Which
Devil
one?
Drives With Us, or
I don't know.
the one
You watched it.
the one that Nick Cage just did, The Devil's With Us or The Devil Drives With Us. Listen, go watch that movie if you haven't watched it.
I'm gonna go watch it.
It is the greatest movie
I
Nick
also-
Cage has ever done.
No, I just
Next to Pig.
I just saved the one he did called Butcher's Crossing that just came out.
Ugh, that doesn't sound good.
It's about buffalo hunting.
Oh, that one too looks
It
amazing.
looks super, super crazy. and-
Man's crazy.
yeah, it looks super crazy. So I got to watch that one too.
What would happen if you found out old boy just had like vampires locked in his dungeon in his house? Would you be upset?
Would I be
Would
surprised?
you still support
Would
him?
I be surprised?
Would you be surprised?
No,
Nah, me neither.
not at all.
You could tell me old boy's got like 10 people locked in his basement. I wouldn't be surprised. He's just an overachiever. He's an overachiever.
Yes.
Or like this entire time, Nick Cage has been traveling back and
Did
forth.
you ever watch the interview with Pauly Shore where he talks about hanging
Oh
out
yeah,
with Nick Cage?
about hanging out with him and how he's just like, it's fine. We got everything. It's fine.
He's like, you
We're
picked me
here.
up in this, $300,000 car and we went to eat sushi.
Oh, and you remember the Nick Cage rule?
What? Oh,
You're not allowed to take pictures with him.
yeah, no pictures.
Could you do that? Could you hang out with Nick Cage for a day and not take a picture with him?
I would try to be respectful of that.
It's so easy, bro. I don't give a fuck about no picture. I'm going to lose that phone anyways. I'm eventually going to either lose, smash, throw, break, or water that phone. So,
You would just do it anyway or no?
no, I'm saying I don't need a picture.
Oh, right,
Fuck all
right, right.
that. I've gotten to the point now where I go to the bigger events and I try not to take pictures. And then, later on people are like, remember this? And I'm like, no, I don't care.
I was
I
at
need
the
some-
event.
I need some memories stored up so when my life flashes before my eyes, I
You
can
have
see
something.
some cool shit. Not like, oh yeah, I looked
I
at this picture on Facebook.
All your
last
memories
week.
are the camera window of you taking
Right.
pictures of shit.
Right. I saw another video of the young kids at the concert, and it was 10 dudes standing there with their cell phones, rapping their favorite song while videoing. And I'm like,
Looking dumb.
homie, I'm never going to watch this video again.
Right.
I
Looking
don't give
dumb.
a shit about.
You gonna tell me you're gonna go home and watch the concert you were just at?
Right. With your shitty ass voice over the mic, because it's your voice the mic's picking up.
Right.
Hey, I was coming down for 3. Bro, I don't want to hear you. You don't want to hear you. You just paid it a lot of money to hear him.
And record yourself.
And then you recorded yourself. Right. I'm like, bro, this doesn't make any sense.
No, dude, it's so
Dude,
weird.
What's happening right
So weird.
now?
Put down the fucking camera and
Put
participate
down the
in your life.
phone. I know. Oh, we should not get started on that, but yeah. It's weird.
Yeah,
It's weird. It's weird. Listen, you know what else is weird?
That we don't have enough Patreon subscribers to make an entire album of elevator music.
No. That's not weird at all. That's pretty normal. Par for the course, as they say. What's weird is that we started the elevator music. That's weird. That wasn't what I was going to say, but who's this Francis Ford Coppola guy?
Oh my God.
Who's that?
Just turn off the podcast now.
No, I'm serious. Who is that?
You don't know who Francis Ford Coppola is?
No, I know the name. I know he's in Hollywood, but what does he do? I don't know him.
Super famous director.
Oh, he's a director. What movies did he do that were good?
Ugh, you know what?
Do we
Just
gotta look
Google.
this up?
Yeah, just Google it, bro.
Just Google it. Because I know that's why. Do you ever wonder if that's why he's so good, at being an actor? Like his.
No,
Because he is related. We know he changed his name. We talked about this in the very beginning.
No, I think he found it.
You think he found acting?
I think he did acting because that was what was expected based on his family.
Uh-huh.
But I think again, my argument for him being the most prolific actor in Hollywood was he wasn't afraid to challenge his art form and take on any role presented
The
to him.
Godfather. Oh.
That's just some of them.
Yeah, no. I didn't realize. I forgot.
That's just one
I
of them.
want to put out the name of the director who I thought was the Godfather, but we're just not going to go further with that. It's Apocalypse, the Godfather, Megalopolis. I can't even read that. More Godfathers, Dracula, The Outsiders, of course. All right. Well, anyways, so that is why he makes such good movies too. I'll bet he gets his uncle to read the scripts too. Apocalypse Now, Lost in Translation, One from the Heart. It just goes on. All these people right now are shaking their heads right now.
Like,
They're
dummy.
like, dude.
Dummy.
But you know what? I can't remember my middle name, so it's fine. Hey, Jack was on here. That's pretty cool.
You know, it's funny. I had a conversation about the whole Elvis thing. Remember we talked a couple weeks ago about Elvis?
Yeah, about that guy who they're claiming might be Elvis.
Right.
Right.
So I was talking with somebody, and then I happened to see an interview with Kurt Russell. And he did a movie as a kid.
Okay.
And Elvis was on the set.
Okay.
And Kurt Russell's dad was really a famous Western star.
Right.
And his dad showed up to see him on set one day. And Elvis is like, hey, kid, is that your dad? He's like, yeah, that's my dad. He's like, can I talk to him? Like, Elvis was starstruck.
Get out of here.
Right. And he comes up to him and he goes, hey, man, I've seen all of your Western movies. And blah, blah, blah. You're fantastic. I love the way you wear your cowboy hat. And so Mr. Russell was like, yeah, thanks, man. Blah, blah, blah. And he goes, if I ever do a Western, can I wear my cowboy hat like you wear yours?
Get out of here.
Dead serious. And I guess Kurt Russell's dad was like, of course, I'm flattered that, the king wants to wear, stylistically wear his cowboy hat just like I did in all my movies.
Did he do it?
I don't know.
Because I know, didn't Elvis do some movies back in the day?
Well, he did movies, but I don't know if he ever achieved doing the Western.
The Western, that's what I was wondering, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kurt Russell's a savage, too. We've talked about him before. He's Val Kilmer credits him for Tombstone happening. He says that the director quit because they had a new guy.
Right, and if it had not been for Kurt Russell.
Yeah, and Kurt Russell just stepped in and was like, I'll do it.
He funded half that movie, too.
Right, he brought it back on. They were going to shut down halfway through.
Yep.
Dude, if we could get 1 hour to talk to Kurt Russell.
Oh, God.
1 hour, bro. It would just be so many questions. So many quick questions.
Yeah.
One-liners.
Yeah.
Like, how are you doing this?
But here's the thing. You never hear any dirt about Kurt Russell.
You never do. He might have faded out, but he faded with class.
You don't hear any garbage about him. You don't hear no dirt about him. You don't hear any fucked up stories about him.
Well, you know why? Because he's from the age before cell phones. That too. He's not stupid. And those other guys, I mean, I hate to say this, but the one thing that's really screwing some of these people are these pictures that they're saying are real or not.
You're talking about the latest story.
Any of it. I'm talking about that box of world, right? Like that world is just, getting a dirty light, and that's fine, but you're right. Like, it's amazing to make it through a whole career and just be fine. Just be fine.
Because you don't have to be a scumbag to be good at your art.
No, I don't think you do. Listen, if we invited Kurt Russell to do a movie and then he just took it over directing it, would you be mad?
Fuck no.
I'd just be like, yeah, you could do what you
have
want.
at it, bro.
Then at the end of the movie, he's like, all right, I own Bay's Boys now. You belong to me. There it is. I had to make sure my partner was still there to make sure.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like,
and we're like, no, you can have the movie. We're done.
We're stealing your car, bro.
Yeah.
And taking the movie. Listen. Yeah, that would be 5 minutes. 10 minutes? 10 minutes.
10 minutes with Kurt Russell.
We can find him.
We should do a series.
Listen.
Called 10 Minutes with Russell.
10 Minutes with Russell.
And we just
talk to
every
Kurt
episode.
Russell.
Well, with Kurt Russell, right? It'd be 10 minutes with Kurt Russell. And every episode from now on, we talk about what we do during the 10 minutes.
Ooh. All right. It exists. So shall it be.
Sim celibate.
It's happening.
Yeah.
Wrong way. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
We're getting there the same way. Red light, green light. So.
Rover, why don't you cross over?
Oh, we're in trouble. 5 minutes with Kurt Russell, man. 10 minutes with Kurt Russell. All right. First 10 minutes, and then we're out of here. Go. 10 minutes. What do we do first?
Did we talk about the Escape from New York movie?
Yeah, that's it right there.
Yeah, first
We
10
just
minutes.
find out how he got into it, what he did, just the whole history of that movie. That was a pretty baller movie.
But he's probably tired of talking about that. Because I guarantee that's what everybody talks to him about.
Really?
Mm.
I mean, I'd do Tango and Cash first, but
Oh,
that's because I saw it first.
you know what? That's not a bad one to start with.
Yeah. Get a little sly in
And
there.
ask him what he thought about Old Mansfield Prison. There you go, and ask him if he had any weird experiences
Yep.
while he was there.
And see if he collided with anybody.
Yeah.
You know, if he had a lot to direct on that one. You really do wonder because, like, when we sit around and we're making stuff, we don't think about the sitting around making part of it. You don't. You're so busy, worried, stressed about getting to the end. And then you get to the end, and even for our episodes, half the time we don't know what the fuck we talked about. And the other half of the time, somebody writes us and tell us that they don't know what the fuck we talked about. So in reality,
Is that why the show keeps going?
well, it's a success. It's a success. Peterson would say it's a success. You wanted to create and not know. They wanted to view and not know. At the end of the line, we both not know. That's a match.
Game point.
Right.
Game point.
Nike's like, just do it. Doesn't matter if our shoe sucks. Just do it. Doesn't matter if it's made by little Chinese fingers. Just do it. Pay more money for those Jordans.
Yeah, because they have tiny little stitches.
Okay. Yeah. I'm saying it just, things that don't make sense
Yeah, all right.
or do at the same time.
Fair enough.
I think from now on, we should teach science in this podcast too.
Oh, Lord.
Like every week we come back with some science facts. Like for instance,
that might get us rolled up.
like for instance,
That might get us rolled up.
we can start small. Like, did you
This
know?
is how you make black powder.
No. Way smaller. Did you know that the seeds on the strawberry are what make it sweet?
Oh.
See, there you go. Small science.
Small science.
Science with Kurt Russell.
This is how you make a potato clock.
Mm.
No, I'm nixing that.
Listen. Okay, let's go back to the Kurt Russell before we get out of here. We're still we're still on 10 minutes for Kurt Russell. So here it is. Here's the real 10-minute question for Kurt Russell. If Morgan Freeman, Rodney Dangerfield, and a couple of these other actors can go become actors at 50 or 60, and these are learned traits, abilities, whatever, did Kurt Russell and Nick Cage, we'll ask Kurt Russell to ask Nick Cage, did you guys just become better at this because you learned it instantly? Like your uncle showed up and was just like at the party. He's like, hey man, go get your cowboy gun. Let's run some lines. And he just does that. And the kid does it so many times, he doesn't know any better. And then one day he shows up at the rehearsal. They're like, let's run some lines. He's like, cool, sweet dude. Cause I really got to go to this party. So can we just hurry up? And he gets it because he doesn't think about it. He just does it. It's like, it's normal life for him. It's like Jean-Claude Van Damme's kid, bro. She's doing beautiful splits. You know how long I've been working on the splits? I mean, I quit at like age 24, but from 10 to 24, my ass was doing some splits. There ain't no splits now. Look at that prod's like, look at me.
Oh, between
Look at
chairs
me.
and shit.
Right. Look at me. I'm like my daddy. Like, I'm just saying, it has to be a
She have a
learned
giant
thing.
hole in her septum too.
Yeah. Does he? Was it from all the coke? Oh, okay. Well, anyways, I'm saying, do you think it was just learned behavior for him? Because think about what he just said. Like, he showed up to be the director. He did the funding.
I think when you grow up in that life, you don't know any
it's
better.
just so casual.
Yeah.
Right. So
You've witnessed every part of it.
So which life did we grow up in that we magically know about that we're supposed to exist in?
None of those.
Oh.
We've had to learn.
Oh, we're in trouble.
We're in a lot of trouble.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just wondering.
That's it.
Listen, I'm saying right now that here's what we're gonna do, and I'm gonna put this out there. We're not gonna put a lot of this out here, but that $10,000 spot that we have on that Patreon, yeah, that guy's gonna go with us back out to Hollywood, and we're gonna go audition together.
Okay.
We'll let him go. That's gonna be part of the trip.
I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, we'll go out. We'll stay at one of our compounds out in California,
And then just go audition for what?
Dude, doesn't even matter, bro. dirty side cop at the bar. And then we'll audition. They'll be like, you got the part. And we're like, yeah, we got to fly back tomorrow to Cleveland. We can't.
Sorry.
Sorry, bro.
Sorry we wasted your time.
Call us. Let us know. We're here for you. Right?
I'm down. I
mean, is it possible?
Yes.
I think that should be a thing.
Okay.
And we should experiment and just pretend you're Kurt Russell. What if you just pretended you were Kurt Russell the whole time we were on the podcast? Would our podcast get better?
That's a tough question to answer, and I don't know how they answer.
And we're going to leave it with our listeners this time. That's what we're leaving you with. That's our homework. If we acted like Kurt Russell, would we be more legit?
And there you go.
That's right. Well, look for us on the interwebs, Facebook, X. We're on the big X. We are on the Instagram. We are on, what else are we on?
YouTube.
We're on everywhere. Everybody's on YouTube, though.
Wow.
Even,
we're just breaking into
well,
YouTube.
we won't say that. Yeah, we're breaking into it. We're late. We're late to everything, though. We're going to be late to our own funerals.
That's all right.
We're not even going to show up, actually.
Yeah, I like that.
Screw it.
Screw it.
Screw it. We're not showing up.
30, 97 seconds.
Everything you don't want.